I want to have all this drawing stuff wrapped up this week. I definitely want to be in the color by next week. I'm going to go over some stuff tonight for next steps. What was I going to say? Okay, so what I realized is like, I got one class that's doing something kind of similar. They're doing an inking thing, but still watercolor involved. And then I have another class, my traditional media class. Their first project is they do a children's book thing like this, except I give them the text, blah blah blah. But anyway, and then we're doing this thing in here. Okay, so then it'll all veer off after that. But so what I was realizing today, what I want to do is I'm starting to. I just took that same bear that I already had. I always take something I already have, and right before class, actually, I added just a little scene to it. Okay. Because I needed something for tonight. But what I'm going to do is because I got to go over kind of two things with you tonight. And then I realized what I'm going to do for even though we talked about transferring and all that, I'm going to put that in a tutorial with how we stretch the paper and all that stuff and how I pull the drawing back out. It'll probably be a fairly short one, probably 20 minutes to half an hour. And I'm going to try and get that done this week. So I have all this banked. That way you can go back if you have any problems with anything. I just think it'll be better. And then I think what I'm going to do, maybe this weekend, if I get a chance, I'm going to try for sure and get all that done this weekend or this week, maybe. Sorry, I'm sniffling. I'm sorry. I always do that. I always sound like a raging cocaine freak on these things, but which is horrible. But anyway, this time I think I'm getting a cold. But anyway, so I think that's important because I really want you to follow this process all the way through, and then you'll kind of know how all this works and you can do it in your own way. And also sort of blocking in a, your basic watercolor and all that kind of thing, okay? I know it's a lot of stuff to get through, but we'll get a little shorter on this front end as we go forward, okay? Because then I'm just going to assume you know this process, and then you'll just go, okay, here's my thumbnails, here's my ideas, here's my refined thing, and then we'll go to whatever we're going to go. And you're going to have, again, you're going to have more choice over what medium you want to use and all that kind of stuff after this, okay? But again, I've been telling all my classes, like I have to run everybody through this process just because I don't feel like they really know how to go from thumbnails to, and there's so much idea involved in this class, your ideas and developing your ideas, and then all the way to, again, I know I'm beating this dead horse a lot, but like knowing what a finished drawing is, okay? It's important. All right, so Jesse.
Yes.
Okay, so this one I don't think would work so well for this one here.
I can't, you're not screen sharing yet.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
And no, I don't think I had anything specific due. I think we're just working towards refinement, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so some of this, by the way, you guys, I like to lay off the reins a little bit as we move along. I'm going to assign things, obviously, and I'm a little more tight about it in the beginning. But then after a while, I want this to become a kind of a, you guys are working all the time. Like I might say, okay, I want to refine this or whatever. That doesn't mean you can't knock out 5 sketches or something. I want you taking on that responsibility. Does that make sense? Now, sometimes I am going to say I want 5 pages or whatever, but I really want you guys to start taking responsibility for, like, I want to do a really good piece, okay? I want to have a great idea, all that stuff, okay? And you have to start taking it on yourself, because if you're talking to an art director and they go, give me a couple ideas, art director's not going to go give me he might go give you 3 or 4 ideas or something, but they're just going to expect you to come up with great ideas. And if you give him 2 and neither one of them that good, he's going to be like, 2? You know what I mean? It's going to be like, he gave me 2 ideas, really? All right, so Jesse, which one of these out of this are you leaning towards? This, because he's got kind of a couple of different styles here.
I still can't see your screen.
Oh. There, are you happy now? Yeah?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't mind read yet, so I wasn't sure what you were looking at. But
by the end of this term, you'll be able to mind read.
I feel like I'm getting close.
Yeah. When you sketch people, you can read their minds. Remember that. I can read minds. Okay, so which one out of these do you think, this is the one I was saying I don't think will work so great for this one here?
The top left one, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little too simplistic. This could potentially. I think this could. The
Hmm.
cool thing about doing like something like this, hang on. It actually looks really cool when you like wash watercolor and all that.
Okay, that's what I was kind of trying to look for a little bit more, and I'm gonna keep looking, but like how to how if any artist is washing watercolor into something like that.
Oh, tons.
Okay, if you
Tons
have
of
any recommendations,
them. For artists that are doing it,
yeah.
let me think about that. I have to think of it, but I mean, it's not unusual at all.
Okay.
Probably Heinrich Clay is probably one off the top of my head. I think sometimes he would throw some watercolor into his stuff. Let's see. Let's see, shall we?
Oh, Priscilla just said that they were getting Tim Burton vibes, and I also do love Tim Burton's illustrations.
Yeah, I
Kind of
mean,
like,
I think Tim.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I have a weird thing with that guy, and it's just, it's not him. It's me. I get it. I just, and I think it's more in relation to the movies he makes. I just feel like he's a one-trick pony. He makes the same movie over and over again, and now they've gotten really bad. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I could see he really has his like niche nailed down, and like his style that goes through. You know, you can see it in all his illustrations and then his movies and so on and so forth. But I don't, I don't know. I love it, so I'm
No,
okay.
a lot of people get it. It's. I'm not saying it's bad. Just for me, I just go like one time I was talking to my kid. This was years ago when he was. I don't know how old he was, but and I go, hey, Tim Burton's gonna make. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's Alice in Wonderland. I don't know what it was, but it's when they announced he was making some movie. And my kid turns around, and he goes, of course he's gonna make that movie. You know what I mean? And then he goes, you know what other movie he's going to make? And it was a movie that he did make. Yeah, it's just like so obvious what he's going to do. You know what I mean? And I know. And
Yeah, I think that's how smart they are, though. They stick to their niche, and then some artists want to be much broader
yeah.
range.
I guess I don't understand that because I kind of feel like he's still kind of playing the high school goth kid angle. And when I look at the work, I go, it's not getting more sophisticated. It's getting less sophisticated. I don't know. And I just have a philosophy in my head. And look, this is all just my own nonsense. You know, it's nice to grow as you get older. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you know, you're right. Some people don't want to, and that's fine.
yeah. Or they. I mean, I guess he's kind of growing in a different way, going from like claymation to live action to whatever else.
Oh, you know, it's the same storytelling. It's the same stylistic direction. It's the same kind of gothy, dark, tony stuff. It's all the same stuff. It's always that same production design style, almost always, except
Mhm.
once in a while when he steps into like Ed Wood. But even that, I'd argue, is kind of similar. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's always Johnny Depp.
Huh?
Yeah, it
And
is.
he always uses Johnny Depp.
Yeah, which is probably not a good idea anymore. Okay, so look, right?
Okay.
So what's nice about this, about that type of style, especially as dense as that guy's doing it, that Silverstein guy, is it the pen and ink or the ink, or if you're gonna do this in pencil or whatever, it's gonna really hold it all together, which means you have a lot of free reign with your color. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fun. I love washing color over like a kind of complicated, you know, kind of like he's doing with that house.
Uh-huh.
So let's see this one. Here's another one. But oops. Hang on. Here's a good one. See that?
Oh yeah, I like that.
But I mean, there's not a whole lot going on color wise because the ink and the line is doing all the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do this in ink?
In no watercolor or both?
No, both.
Yeah, I'd probably like to do both. Which I'm getting so confused because I'm in so many of your classes. We're inking is in fundamentals of cartoon.
Yeah, but this is a different kind of inking to me.
Okay.
Like the kind of inking we're doing in fundamentals is very sort of traditional for that thing.
Mm-hmm.
This to me is more, I don't know, a little more, I don't know, free. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a lot freer style. So this, it's really, you got to be comfortable with going in with that pen and going a little crazy, right?
Hmm.
Um,
I would
but
like to
go
work
ahead.
towards. I would like to work towards something like this.
Okay. What kind of pen do you want to use? Because you could totally change it up from what we're doing in fundamentals and go, I'm not going to use like a traditional dip pen or whatever. I'm going to use like a Uniball.
Uh-huh.
There's a guy that I like. I think I've talked to you about him before. I don't bring him up a lot in class because he does a lot of sex jokes. And they're not like, they're just funny. Okay. It's not like some pervy thing, but I love his drawing. Okay. And I actually love his sense of humor too. He's really funny. But he does this really interesting thing with, maybe I'll send you a video of him drawing.
Okay. What's his name?
John Canillo.
Okay. I'll put it on my list.
Yeah, he's super funny, man. I mean, to me, he's funny. He used to, the reason I think he does it in like a weird, like cultural commentary kind of way.
Mhm.
But he also used to do the sex advice column for Vanity Fair for like 6 years.
Oh, interesting. How do you
Yeah,
spell?
really interesting. Huh?
How do you spell his last name?
Cuneo.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find something that's not crazy. Yeah, here's one. Right?
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I can find another one.
Watercolor?
Yeah, it's ink and watercolor, just like what you're talking about.
Wow, I feel like everything I keep saying that's watercolor is not as, like, the colors are not as saturated as that. I think that's the word I want to use. And I like that a lot.
I love his style. I think it's cool.
It kind of reminds me, I was making another inspiration board, and the illustrator David Johnson.
I don't know if I know him. Boy, talk about a generic name. He's an illustrator?
Yes. And some of his sketches are like remind me of the artist you were just showing, and then also kind of Shel Silverstein-ish, but I like the way he actually does watercolor on some of his illustrations.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, I'm getting like where you're going.
I really like the way he does hair. There's like a whole series. Oh, here it is, maybe. How he does beards and hair is so trippy.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, I like all these influences, man.
Cool.
So what you might want to do in this class, if you want to do an ink thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might want to try finding I mean, it's up to you. If you want to use a dip pen, that's cool too.
Mm-hmm.
But you might want to play around, because like John Canillo uses like Uniballs and stuff, okay? And Uniball makes quite a few waterproof pens that you can just buy over the counter. You might want to play around with them a little bit.
Okay, that sounds good.
Even if you're going to do it like in a different, like a dip pen or something. If you're going to do that, like you might want to dick around with your line and everything for a while with that, so it's not such a hassle. You can just do it in a sketchbook or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are great. I think I've seen this guy before. That's really cool right there.
Wow.
That's great. Yeah, you can see his, it's really simple mark making the way he does the hair, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool, man. Does he do color too? Oh, here.
Yeah, some of them, and I like he does illustrations like
Okay.
style. Well, this one's a little heavier, but some of them he would just like put some watercolor like on the cheeks or.
No, these are airbrush.
Maybe type in his name and then type watercolor, because that's what I did, and a couple popped out.
I think I've seen this guy's stuff before. I don't know if I knew his name, but yeah, these are great. David Johnson. David Johnson? David Johnson. There's him.
I don't know where this. There's this.
Oh, look at
one.
that. Look at you know what's cool about this guy's stuff? Because that's him too. It's him.
Is that his stuff too?
Yeah, I think so.
That one.
It looks like his stuff to me. That's weird. This what is this Pinterest? That's why I can't stand Pinterest. See, this is Richard Solomon. Richard Solomon is a rep out of New York, I think.
I just dropped one of his illustrations with the watercolor in the chat. I don't know if you can pull it up too.
I probably can, but very slowly. No, Ebony knows who Silverstein is.
Yeah, he did a lot of children's like poetry books with like black and white illustration.
Really? So is that the kind of stuff you were looking at when you were a kid?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah, me too.
I feel like a lot of us had Shel Silverstein read to us in like elementary school. and
Wow, that's
stuff.
weird to me. Maybe that's weird. That's interesting.
He also has this book that's for like adults. That's a total joke children's book called Uncle Shelby's ABZs. That is like it's just like it would be terrible if a kid read this. It like has a whole page where it's like there's no Santa Claus or like just completely making fun of children's books.
That one's so good.
Oh,
And
here it is.
It's hilarious.
There's a collection of he did like adult cartoons for Playboy, like when he first got started. There's a collection of those, and it's called Different Dances. And they're all kind of sex joke related, but still same style. They're really crazy. They're really cool.
It's really bizarre when you read him as a kid and then you see that stuff and you're like, what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What's interesting though is he's doing some airbrush stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't realize some of that stuff was
It
airbrush.
sucks because if we're in class, I could bring my airbrush in. I show you how to do it.
God damn it.
I'll show you after. I'll show you when we're back on campus.
Okay.
Anyway, John Conillo, and I found some videos of him drawing. Here, let me put it in my notebook or I'll forget. Very much this kind of stuff here, right? And he has this real weird, like wobbly line. The way he draws, it's kind of interesting. He has one on here, and I don't know where it is, of Aretha Franklin that I always think is super cool. I like this. This is another one that's just kissed with watercolor.
Yes,
Right.
that is like, that's where I'm trying to go.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
What I would say is maybe start doing a lot of like get a pen, like I said, get a waterproof pen, like a Uniball, or you know, whatever you like. Or you can get those fiber tip ones, are usually waterproof, and start just going for it, and just start kind of developing, you know, how you want to do it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And then we
When
could just, if you want, we can just kiss it with watercolor, and that's it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm totally fine with that.
Oh wait, never mind. I think I was thinking of a question for another class. I'm good.
You getting all mixed up in your classes like I am?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm in 3 of your classes.
Oh.
So I'm like, usually at least a little easier to differentiate. I'll be like, oh, that class is with Todd. Okay, that's what that is. Or that class is with Clutch or whatever. But
Yeah, this one, or like I said, this inking style to me is not something I would do in the fundamentals class. Maybe later, like maybe later down the line, maybe. When I kind of open it up and let people do their thing.
Mhm.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, so what I really want to get to this week, let's get all these things refined and get them done, right? Danielle.
Yeah.
Wait, did you switch it up? No, you didn't, right? Oh, no, you didn't. Okay, I remember this one. Okay, so this is you're starting to refine, correct? Where'd you go?
What? Sorry.
You're starting to refine, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, you've kind of got all the elements in here. What's back here?
It was gonna be just more kids. Cause the thing is when I paint, cause I kind of carve things out.
I do
So
that
I
too.
was planning to just like have that, not like just, you know how farther away the less detail it is?
Yeah.
So it's gonna like make it look like more kids in the back, but it just kind of like blobs of.
Here's the only thing I'll say about carving. I don't want you to go in here and go all opaque media on it. Right? You there?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You can use some of it, like as we move along, but I want to make sure that you're understanding how to handle watercolor, all right? Yeah?
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. I love carving shapes. I love that. So you'll get some of that because when we go to we'll do a little bit of gouache over it or whatever. But and you can carve a few things, like if you need to correct something or whatever. Are you saying that you usually correct your shapes in the paint?
Not really. I kind of just add like onto, because I was planning to do this maybe in watercolor.
No, it is going to be in watercolor.
Yeah, okay. So then I usually just carve. I don't know. My brain works where it just like, I don't know how I do it. It just calculates where things go without like having to fix it. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, as long as if it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've seen your stuff. You have a style and stuff like that, and I know you understand paint handling. So I kind of got to see how you're going to approach it to really comment on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But make sure you've got everything worked out in the drawing, okay?
Okay.
But I mean, I like the way you're laying it out. Like, I like the idea of it just being like endless giant room full of kids except for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that sounds cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Where's Grant? Is Grant here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so where are we at in this phase or in this thing?
I'm slowly starting to refine it.
Okay, right now, I'd have a hard time. It feels more like he's taking off, like flying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like this down here, because it feels like a cloud. It's starting to feel a little like this guy's a little Jesus-like, and there's clouds and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
And then you got to get like this has to be. They're just riding him, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to like. It's supposed to look like more like he's jumping, but it's at a weird angle.
Well, it's also like really high.
All right.
So one thing I might do is try and get in here. The thing I always try and do is just real small. Try and go, oops. No. Try and figure out like his pose. You know, like how's he jumping? You know, I got to figure that out first. Like he's got to look like he's jumping, right?
Mhm.
You know, or am I going to go, he's sort of the classic like rodeo shot where you have one arm up in the air and you're like riding him and your legs are kicked up like that.
Uh-huh.
So if the kid's sort of doing a very joyous kind of I'm riding him thing, it's going to help push the idea that he is riding him.
All right.
And then, what's the alligator's pose,
Yeah.
And I'd really push that, And then, another kid here, maybe like you have it. Maybe all I see is the feet on this kid. Oops. Whatever. I don't know, but it's got to get, and then it's got to be like the composition's got to make sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to also figure out, because right now there's a bunch of kids over here in a building, and then he's all over here, and then there's somebody here, and it's just like it needs to get pulled together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Could also, another pose could be the kind of classic reared up, almost like a
Or
horse.
like the horse.
Yeah, almost like where you have the kid up here, maybe holding on with one hand, and I see the feet again like that. You know, it could be something like that. I'm making him look like an eel. But anyway, think about it, right? And then it's all got to pull together coherently as a composition. Okay.
All right.
'Cause what are these kids doing over here?
I was hoping that it would look kind of like they're waiting in line.
Waiting in line?
Yeah.
For what?
Like the guy's like, since there's two people on the alligator, like he's giving kids rides.
I think if you're going to say that, then you got to say it.
Okay.
Like, I don't, you know, I mean, there's the obvious one where you have a sign that says alligator rides. I mean, you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something like that. It has to be, or I'd look at like, you know, places that do like camel rides or elephant rides. Even I hate that stuff. How, you know, what does it look like, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then this person is doing what?
The person down there.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, that was supposed to be the teacher. I'm not like 100% sure what I want her to do yet. But
I don't even know if you need her.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I mean, if you give me this thing, to me the thing is, there's a preceding X amount of number of pages, and there's a, you know, following X amount of pages for something like this. Correct?
Yeah.
So I'm not telling the whole story here. I'm telling one little moment in it. Okay. So, you know, or I could even have done it where it's like the page before this page. Sometimes you can get away with this. The page before this page would be the setup, where it's that part where it says, you know, when your teacher tells you to bring blah, 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 she means to bring this, this, and this, ... Then I turn the page to this big spread and something crazy is going on with the alligator. And then it says ... She doesn't mean for you to bring your alligator. I mean, you could lay it out like that, where that 2-page spread is the payoff from the previous page, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do stuff like that. But the point is, you got to get them to feel, you know, this whole thing has to get coherent.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then stylistically, where are you going to go? Like, where are you going to go with like these kids?
I'm still playing around with that idea right now.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to get them into some stylistic point of view. And again, I always go back to, you know, they got big ears and old school simplicity. I don't know. Okay.
All right.
So get that nailed down, because I really want to get into color next week for sure. Okay.
Okay.
This week, I just want to wrap up, you know, our composition, drawing, all that stuff. And then, you know, we'll have, where's June?
I'm right here.
Don't I have a different name for you on my roster?
Yeah, it says Juliet, but I just go by June.
Oh, you go by June? Okay. Because I was not sure if you go by that one or the other one. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are doing style boards. That's awesome. Didn't Danielle do that last week?
No, that was Laura.
What was it, Laura? Oh, I love this. This one here.
Yeah, that one's by Craig McCracken. I really like how he uses his brush.
What does he do again? I forgot.
He did Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and then
okay.
Powerpuff Girls, and yeah.
Love this. I mean, this stuff's fun. Love this. Love this. I mean, I like all this stuff. This is fun.
Reference photos, like get an idea.
This gives you a really good understanding of how their face is built.
Yeah.
You. Oh, this is great right here. Those things are terrifying. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you saw, but I put a video in the discussion board about
Yeah.
And it was crazy because there's this other video where they have these massive bundles of muscle right here and they dissect it and it's just huge, it's crazy.
Where'd you find that at?
So on YouTube I typed in alligator anatomy and the one I found is what I posted, but with the muscle one, it was a related video, but it's really gory.
It's like a scientific dissection thing, right?
Yeah, it was done for like a college group.
You know, that used to be, I think that used to be part of like the artistic training. You had to go to like, they flay humans and stuff. Which
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
cool.
man, I can't do that. I'll have nightmares for the rest of my life from that. You know?
Yeah.
I know it's probably great to to learn the anatomy on that level, but it's like I can't. That's just so nightmarish. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like I think Jim, you know Jim at the college, Jim Dowdles.
Mm-mm.
I think he had to do that stuff. Brianna, did he?
Yeah, he had to work with cadavers, and you draw them like over at Long Beach.
Yeah, I couldn't handle that. Okay,
And
what are you saying?
in my files, I have some idea pages like for the kids in Gator, and then I have my refined thumbnail. Just trying to like feel out.
That's
things.
getting better.
Like the Gator.
Although,
show looks
okay, so here's what I'd say though,
yeah.
and it's starting to be minor-ish. You gotta okay, hang on. Okay, I like all that. I like that you thought of it as a ribbon. I've talked about that in class, in another class. I love this right here. This little simple breakdown.
Yeah.
I think that stuff really helps. I think all this like breaking down helps a lot, don't you think?
Yeah, it was crazy because I was like trying to like the top left is where I started, and then I remember in your cartooning class you're like, oh, break it down to like a graphic design. And I'm like, okay, how do I like simply look at it as a shape? And then like everything started to click, and then I could like expand and like pull around with it.
That's what drawing is. That's all it is. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to say it's all it is, but you know what I mean? At its core fundamental, that's what it is. Okay. I know it takes time to get there and all that, but you know, I didn't have anybody tell me that when I was in Fullerton. You know what I mean? They're like, everything was disconnected. So nobody was like putting it together for me where I was just going, I don't know why I'm doing this. And I don't know why I'm doing this. And I don't know why I'm doing this. And I don't know why I'm doing this. You know what I mean? It was a bunch of stuff. I didn't know why I was doing it. Would have been
Yeah.
great. Told me because I would have been into it. Like it was said, like, hey, this is the fundamentals of how you do this. Okay, I want to do that. You know. I mean, and then I had some people who were super great. You know, who were telling me great stuff. Okay, so one thing is like this paw or whatever you call him, his leg.
Yeah.
One and
Mhm.
this one are sort of doing this straight out kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Where I think, okay, so this one I'm probably not even going to see. Oops. And then this one, not exactly sure. Now, again, we're not making a documentary, right?
Yeah, but I was kind of like confused how I want to show him like walking. Like, did I want to like push it where it's kind of like silly or like kind of more because they walk in a weird way, but like, what do you think?
I don't know. I'd have to play with it because it's going to come somewhere between, you know, I'm probably going to look at how I know kind of how they move on land. They kind of have, don't they have like sort of a, kind of a little bit of a sway to them?
Yeah, they're mostly like crawling on their bellies, like army crawl.
Yeah. So maybe I might try to get a little more of that curve in there
Mm-hmm.
to kind of imply that, like that this arm, let's say, is moving forward. And I'd have to look at him kind of, you know, and then you're going to just anthropomorph the hell out of it. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
once I kind of got an idea, then it's like, I've got to just, again, I've got to play with these as sort of like, I'm just going to do these little, kind of like you were doing the other page. Now do another page where you're just figuring out what it looks like for him to walk.
Oh, okay.
You know, from a, and that's all you're worried about, right? So you might just do the same thing you're doing, really simple, you know, shapes, and then just go, you know, is he walking like this, you know, and think about how he's walking, and then just sort of anthropomorphize it a little bit. And then it's probably going to be mixed a little bit with, you know, it's different when you go, when you do sort of what Heinrich Clay or anybody does. Oops, hang on. They'll go, you know, if you turn this alligator this way, and now he's standing like this, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Because now, you know, I can have them, you know, I could have them like, you know, walking any way I want now, right? You know, I could push this back and I could push this forward, you know, and have this leg out and this one back here and his arm swinging. And, you know, I could do all that stuff if I, you know, anthropomorphize them. And you want to take that same kind of liberty, but you've got them just in a different angle, right?
Yeah.
So, kind of set yourself free on that. Does that make sense? Like sometimes I usually go to the headwaters, I look at the real thing, and then I kind of just jump off the cliff. You know what I mean? Like I might go, okay, the way they get forward motion is like this. And then at the end of the day, I might throw all that out the window and just go, that looks like he's walking. And it's just because I moved this mass here and I did something weird with this, and all of a sudden it all starts to work. You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
But you have to like disconnect your brain. You have to have it like an understanding of what it is you're doing, and then you sort of have to throw it out the window and go. I think that's the trick whenever you're doing this kind of thing, or any kind of anthropomorphized thing, or even any kind of, you know, really pushed character design. I think there's points like once you have the information in your head that you have to start making leaps of logic all over the place and start going. Because I've done stuff, or I've even looked at other people's stuff. I go, God, that's so great. And we talked about it in class, and somebody might go, yeah, but that wouldn't do that. And I go, it looks amazing, man. And I believe it. Like if you're you can't break everything down like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like some things are just leaps of logic and leaps of graphic information and all that kind of stuff. And what I love is just doing little thumbnails over and over and over until I hit something. And then I go, okay, I think that kind of starts to read. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Here's a good example of it, if I can find it. And I never saw this movie, so I don't really know. I mean, it's pretty obvious what was going on, I guess. So these are for Arthur Christmas, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. Okay, so clearly he's going for that dog-like behavior, right?
Oh, yeah.
So instead of going to the obvious and going, which is why he's a top flight guy, and going, I'm going to have him begging with a bone in his mouth, which is where everybody would have gone, like that, or chasing a ball or whatever. He went for that kind of dog like rub my belly or whatever kind of thing, right? And then the cone on the head and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's different ways of communicating, right? Because 90% of your job here, it's communicating, right? And the reason I like to pick a children's book is because I think it takes a lot of people out of drawing superheroes and all that, but it's not really even that. It's just that like, okay, now you're literally writing for a 7-year-old, or you're illustrating for a 7-year-old. It's got to read, man. That kid has to read it. If the kid sits there and goes, what is that right there? I don't get it. Like, it's over. You know what I mean? The kid's just deciphering the book. He's not going to engage in, or she's not going to engage in it. And they're just not going to engage in it. You know what I mean? I think there was one more in here. You know, Milk and the Reindeer. So I never saw this movie, so I don't know the context. But I'm guessing that one of the characters, the reindeer, I don't know if it was in relation to Santa Claus, is kind of puppy-like or dog-like or whatever, that relationship. Well, I thought he was milking him. I guess he's not. Look how loose that is. I love that.
Yeah.
I just love that. And then there was one, this one.
Yeah, I really like what you said about like taking like maybe this animal, but incorporate like this kind of like actions from these animals. Cause I think that's gonna like really help me out, like figuring out like how like walking is gonna communicate like clearly. Cause no kids like know what an alligator like looks like walking, but like I totally. Like,
and they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. But I don't care. You know what I mean? I just want to believe it. Or I want to just be like these, or I just go, these are great. You know what I mean? And yeah, don't be afraid to borrow from other behaviors. If that is a puppy-like alligator, is there any physicality like he's doing here? where you could go, you know, this conveys this pet-like relationship, because that's important. You know, that's really important. You know, the personality of that alligator is important. You know, if you put the alligator in the room and the alligator's terrifying and mean and I'm out. You know what I mean? If you're a kid, you know, you're just sort of like, he's not cool, you know? Because every kid is going to go to bed reading after they read that kind of book and go, I want an alligator. Wouldn't that be cool to have an alligator? You know, I wanted a chimpanzee when I was a kid. Thank God I didn't get one. Now that you hear how terrifying they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're terrifying. Okay. I mean, they're fine as long as you leave them alone, which is what you're supposed to do, is leave them alone, right? Okay. Okay, so then on top of, okay, so around that, like this kid to me, gosh darn it. I don't know where there it is. This guy's starting to have, now, again, I do this on my trace usually.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'll show you something, because I just did something right before class, because again, I need something for a demo for this class, and you know, blah blah blah. I just said that. But this kid, I might start to go, I'm going to pull him back a little more. Like, I like the simplicity of, what happened? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Of this. But again, I just screwed it up right there. I might refine it a little. Like maybe give an overlapping fold right there.
Yeah,
You know,
because I
maybe-
wasn't using a reference to break up that pose, so I definitely will like look at that. So like it's more like there's a better silhouette for it.
I like this guy right here. And it's like when you set it up, when you throw something down, I mean, what I like to do is just throw stuff down all loose and then go in and find it, right? So if you give me enough, like this one to me is enough, where I can go, okay, all I got to do is come in here now and start refining some of this stuff. I can leave them with 3 fingers. That's fine. I like this. I think this works really well. The relationship of the legs to the upper body, I think, works really good. And I think that's tricky. I think the shoe's probably fine. I don't think you need to really overthink it. Maybe I might bend it a little bit, but maybe not. I just bent
Well,
it.
how do you feel about the backpacks? Because I wasn't sure if those were like necessary or not.
I think, let's try some. Okay, so let's try this guy now. Put a little more information on that. And I might think of some kind of glasses, you know, dorky glasses. Now, another thing, if you do eyes like this, trying to keep them, I'm using a really fat brush, and I put this right in the middle, he's going to look much more, right?
Oh yeah.
Because normally, actually, your eyes are like, in reality, are like, you're seeing like that much of your eye, of your pupil, or whatever it's called, right?
Yeah,
You know, that's why when we draw somebody, it's like terrified or whatever, you know, we do this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, and then raise the eyebrows, right?
Yeah. Do you think? Because I originally had him like looking at like the girl
Oh.
next to him, like kind of talking about the gator. But do you think it'd be better if he's like shocked?
I think I would have him actually looking down, because that's what you'd be doing. Hang on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Why? Here it is. Which means I might, let's see. Actually, that kind of works.
Yeah.
And then I give him just a little bit of a chin, maybe. Maybe not. It might make him look too old. I might give him bigger ears, because a lot of times kids have those goofy ears, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like all your features. Like, I don't know if everybody went through this, but usually when you're a kid, you have that weird gawky phase where your ears are too big, and boys will be like real lanky with like big hands, and you know, they're just real goofy looking.
Yeah.
Mine was like my mouth looked too big for my face and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, and you know, don't be afraid, by the way, sometimes to take the eyebrows way up here, you know. I mean, not in this case, but you know, they don't have to connect, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd probably play around with the glasses a little bit. Okay, and then this backpack. So if I was going to do that, I'd probably do that as a really make it where I see the strap, this. Then I might put something here. It might get too complicated if it does. I don't know. That might get too complicated. So maybe. The main thing with the backpack is it just has to read really simply. Like that probably reads okay.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I might do one little pull fold. This little overlap. You know, and we're starting to get a more refined thing, right?
Yeah, because I was gonna print this out and then just kind of like put it on, I think Bristol for the watercolor.
You gonna do Bristol?
Either Bristol. Do you think it'd be better to do like watercolor paper?
I would
'Cause
try
also-
watercolor paper because it
Yeah.
really lays down really nice on the watercolor paper.
Mhm.
And I want you to try it. What I'm trying to do is like, with everything, is go try this, try this, try this. Find things you like. You know what I mean? My thing that always frustrated me when I was learning was I'd go, I really want to try, like if I got some kind of cool art material like oil paints or something, the thing would always frustrate me is I'd be like, I want to know how to use these. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to use these. And trying to, in a couple different classes, I'm trying to cover a lot of that, hopefully, you know, because one thing I have noticed about you guys, and I was wrong about this when I came into this, I go, they're not going to care about anything traditional, man. And most of you guys do. Like most of you guys like that stuff, and you like gouache. Like everybody likes gouache, and everybody, you know. So it's kind of cool. And then I just look at that and go, oh, that's a great learning tool because, yeah, I know you've been working digitally, but if you have a good foundational thing and all this stuff, it's going to make you a better artist. So I'm gonna leap on it, you know. And I like this stuff anyway. But okay, but see how that guy's more refined.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we got to now here. I would be careful of this. This hair is starting to get pretty anime.
Oh yeah. Because I was trying to do like this weird like shaggy 80s kind of like when they perm it, but I think it's like I should just make it simple. Like
perm it? Like how?
Like, have you seen those? Because I was looking at 80s photos of kids, and they get this crazy, like, perm that kind of, like, comes up and just, like, gets all over the place.
Is it like a mullet?
Yeah, it's like a mole.
There you go, yeah.
Well, a mullet is more...
It's more kind of, like, combed on the front end and, like...
Well, it's like a normal haircut up here, and then it goes long in the back.
Yeah, I guess, like... Not a mullet, like a mullet with bangs. Like I'll probably rework it so it reads better.
Actually, I haven't put up the video on hair yet, have I?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'll put that up today or tomorrow. I would every time I'm looking at hair, the first thing I do is mask it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then and it's really fun to look at different hairstyles and go, how can I like mask that and sort of design it in a way that's really fun. I love doing that. It's fun. And I'm sure, what year are you saying this is? Or you can be any area you want, really. It doesn't have to exist in any particular era either. Okay. The only thing I'd say about that though is make sure this girl, like this is masked. Is this a braid?
Yeah, it's a braid.
So I'd really design that.
Yeah, because I was just putting it in real quick. Yeah.
But I mean, it's a pretty easy design. You know.
Because I almost wanted her braid to look similar to the gator's tail, kind of like this, like.
Oh, okay.
Similar design relationship.
I did this product for Tangled.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything had this like braid idea in it, right? And it's really weird when you look at a braid. It's really simple, but I always talk to you guys and I go, you're always going to have some little thing that you just don't get for some reason. Like your brain just doesn't get it. Like I did with the eye level thing and all that. This thing was one of those things. I kept looking at it and going, I don't even have to find the design language. They already did, right? But for some reason, that language just didn't resonate in my head. And it was really cool, you know what I mean, the way they did it. But my brain just wouldn't read it right. It was really weird. You know what I mean?
Like the shapes like wouldn't overlap correctly in your head or something.
It was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was almost like I do with these numbers where I can't get it because it's like numbers. It was kind of like the same weird thing. I mean, I got past it, but I remember I was looking at it going, why am I having so much trouble with something so simple? This is totally simple. But it was just one of those things. My brain wouldn't lock into it. I don't know why. You know, super simple. And then I even went back and I go, okay, I got to go look at braids. It's probably what it is. Is that I'm just looking at this interpretation of it, and I should probably look at how it works. And I did that. I go, oh, yeah, I get how it worked. And it just, nothing worked. You know what I mean? Anyway, finally it did. But anyway. You know, you might just need that's probably not bad, actually. What were you going to say?
I was looking at that one artist you recommended us. I think his name was like David something. He did the Mad comics.
Oh,
I think it was Dave or
Dave? Oh, the Mad would either be Mort Drucker, Jack Davis.
I think it was Jack Davis that I was looking at.
He's a monster.
It was crazy. Yeah, because I was looking at his kids he drew, and it was crazy because it's like a little bean-shaped head, but it's like you can feel the mass of both of them. And
yeah.
It was so charming, and I was like, that helped me out a lot designing kids because I never draw kids. So I'm like, oh, okay, like it like clicked in my head.
Yeah, and you can look at it and you'll see kind of the same things over and over again. One of them is this big cheek idea. One of them's like I just said, the big ears, the moppy hair. I mean, things have changed a lot now because when I look at kids, they change, right? But based on whatever's going on. And I saw some kids up here, I think by the lake or something. And every now and then I see, and I hardly ever see this anymore. They look like kids out of my era.
Yeah,
They kind of looked a little bit like kids that hung out at the beach. They were probably like 11, you know, real moppy hair. And I'm like, God, those look like kids from my era, man. Like, you don't see kids that look like that. And it's weird how much you don't realize it until you see them again. And it's it's not like a big fashion statement or anything, because we didn't really have a fashion statement when we were kids back then. But it was, you know, it was interesting, you know.
It was like an aura because I work at
go to, you know, what do kids look like now, you know, and kids just look different now, you know.
Yeah, because I work at an ice rink and I like there's a lot of kids that come. So I was thinking about it and it's just like I don't know, it's like hard to put like a finger on them sometimes. But like the variety of like how they look is like fun too. Because sometimes they're like really ugly and then some kids are like really cute, but I don't know.
Well, that's every era.
Yeah.
So I would just go in here and clarify a few things. You know, maybe the color does something. Maybe looking down now. Okay, this is another thing. You're looking down. I probably can't get away with it here. I was gonna say sometimes like on a dress or something, even if I'm looking down, I'll cheat it and put a little overlap on that. I do it all the time with shoes all the time. And then I think actually your spatial relationships are working pretty good. I don't know if this leg needs to be out that much.
Yeah, because I was having problems. I had to like keep like transforming it. I'm like, okay, does it look better like this? Or because it wasn't off a reference photo again, but yeah.
That's everybody. That's what you do. You sit around and you just kind of. That's what I'm telling you guys. Like tear the paper up, change things, move it around, anything goes, really. You know what I mean? And it's not that you can't draw it, by the way. Like anything I do in that way, I can draw it, but it's just. It's instant gratification because I can just take that head and turn it and go, oh my God, that changes the whole thing. And it's done for now. And it's all screwed up. And then I do what I'm doing right now. I go over it and I start refining it. But now my main thing at that point is like, I want to figure out the pose and just the mechanics of it, like where are the big shapes? How am I seeing them from this perspective? All that kind of thing. Now I could get crazy with this and go, well, this, what's going to be over what, but there's also a little bit of play in there too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, as long as I'm reading it, and these I would probably try and have just sort of follow almost like a 3-point logic.
Okay.
And I don't want you to get all in there and get all 3-point on it. And you could even curve the bottom a little bit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But see how if you structure everything up a little bit, it kind of helps.
Yeah.
Now you don't want to and then these would come back like that. You got to kind of think whether you're, and this isn't a perspective class. And I also want you to, is this a tipped over trash can?
Yeah, and there's one kind of like in the farther background, and near the foreground, there's like a tripped over wet floor sign. And I didn't know if that would work because I wanted to see what you had to say about it.
Oops. I might get rid of the trash bag in this.
Okay.
And I also think it could work. I like the idea. Maybe just play with it.
So I was thinking of doing like a blue liner, and then like on the outside it's black, so you can kind of tell.
Okay. Just you
maybe
got to
like
really make sure you design that.
Yeah. I'm not just gonna
make sure also like that it's a trash bag color that I'm gonna recognize.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, you just got to make it, and it's real simple. I mean, it's gathering right here, and then it's coming out. And how does it do that? Mine's getting too flower-like. Things fold over on each other or whatever.
Do you think the wet floor sign works, or do you think I should like kind of place it in there? Just because there was a lot of negative space on the bottom left-hand corner.
Is there any like signage that's common that they put in a kid's, in like an elementary school that's more or less like telling kids, don't do this or don't do that? That's really common.
I know it, like they have a lot of like signs. Sometimes like, oh, be quiet, or make sure you like walk in a line. But like, I don't see. It's more of like I see like classroom posters or like things that's like, oh, the kid's handprints somewhere or something like that. Okay. Nothing too directional.
I mean, it could be that, but you got to make it really. It's wet floor, yeah. Those things kind of are like, you got to make it real simple. I think they do something like that.
Yeah.
And then they got a little bit of dimension to them. They're like a hard plastic. And then I, put kind of wacky writing on it, even though it never would be. And then maybe I see the other leg right there, but you're going to knock it over. So maybe it's not all the way knocked over. Maybe it's doing this and it's getting knocked over.
Gotcha.
I don't know though. See, when I draw that, because it's like forced wacky
like
perspective,
weird.
It's just reading as part of the perspective. So you might have to knock it over.
Yeah, because I was thinking if I put like a little cast shadow on the ground, it may like read okay. Like a teeny little blob.
Now I might pull this out, this out, this out, this out. And maybe just give a hint of a tile floor.
Okay.
Just to ground it. And usually a lot of times the schools have, whatever you call them, tile floors.
I know this is kind of like down the road during like the coloring stage, but I really like the watercolor video you did where you sprinkled the salt on, because I don't know if you've seen the design of like some floors, but they got like this weird, it's like almost mosaic, but it's not, and it's like splattered color, and I was just gonna like do that as like a texturing. Like,
well, you could probably do some of that on the alligator themselves.
Yeah.
And it'll be kind of subtle, and then you sort of paint over it. It just kind of sits back. It's kind of nice. And then sometimes it'll make like little marks, and I'll go, I'm going to give that a little shadow value, and it'll start to feel like it's got dimension. Like I just go, it's the same thing as I was saying about drawing. I throw a bunch of paint down, and then I start going, oh, I can pull that out, and I can pull that out. You know what I mean? Or I can use it to emphasize this, this, and this, right? All right. So you know what to do, right?
Yep. Thank you.
Oops. Okay, who do I got? I got to go over a couple of things, so. Okay. I don't have as many this week, so it's not too bad. Where's Kelsey?
Hello.
Now, which one was this?
So I like last week I had my first thumbnails done, but I made it as like a guess kind of like a comic strip, so I had to make some more. So these are the
Oh,
other
they
ones.
were sequential.
Yeah.
So what's going on here?
They're just playing with blocks, pretty much. It's just
Got to give me
supposed to be
something that reflects the text.
yeah.
What's going on here?
They're just in the library carrying books.
Here,
Arts and crafts,
and then here.
story time.
Yeah, you got to give me, it's not reflecting the text,
Okay.
right? Like,
Mhm.
why is he not supposed, I mean, we all know he's not supposed to be this alligator, right? So we got to, the thing is like I like this little layout, and I like the way you're building the shapes of the characters. Like, they feel pretty good.
Mhm.
Like, I could go over these very easily and finish them out because they're kind of structured pretty good. Now give me the story part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me one, like I like the idea of like arts and crafts, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty simple leap to go. And I even like that he's like, if he drew, you know, like maybe he drew this kid, his kid or whatever, but it's not a big leap to go, you know, here's paint spilled all over the place. There's some paint on the walls dripping around. You know,
Mhm.
he's made a mess, right?
Yeah.
He's a big alligator, man. He's not supposed to be in a classroom. He's going to make a mess, right?
Mhm.
This one has this. Oh, hang on. I got to do my Wacom thing, which I blame Brianna for. She disappeared. All right, hang on.
No, my Wi-Fi went out, so I had to like go onto
I
my
thought
phone
he
data.
was like, boop, disappeared.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It happens a bit at night at my house.
It happens on mine all the time. It's a little better now. That's ever since we got past that week where it kept doing that. Usually when it does it once, hang on, I gotta go blow my nose. Hang on, you guys, for 2 seconds. Full on getting a cold, man. All right. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, give me that one. Play with it. Okay. I like the way you build things. Build a nice little scene, speaks to that. We're good. Okay.
Okay.
But get it done. We now got to get it done. We got to start going to color. Hey, everybody understood that rub out technique from last week, right? Okay. Because I had somebody in another class and they're like, that's crazy complicated. And I go, no, it isn't. It's just you're doing your last drawing backwards. That's all. You know what I mean? Which means you get a better drawing because you're balancing it backwards. So it's all good. All right, where's Madeline?
Right here.
Ooh, I like that drawing.
Oh, thanks.
I like
Just-
that drawing.
Thanks.
So what's going on here? I
Oh,
forgot.
this is just me refining one of my ideas. I was trying to figure out if it would work to have full bodies in it, because since it's going to be horizontal, I don't want to have it. Yeah,
Is he introducing himself to her?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
I
got
like that.
like flowers for the teacher.
Yeah, I
and
love the little extra taking his hat off. Like, I love that. I didn't think of
Yeah.
that. That's great. Because that really says it. You know what I mean? That says it.
Mhm.
Okay, now what I would say is, I know you're just working on placement or whatever.
Yeah.
What's her reaction?
I was just trying to make her look shocked, like she's just kind of like gone limp and is like, what?
I might
Yeah.
just because there's a danger in having a pose that's so kind of rigid. So, you know, it
Uh-huh.
might be like she's kind of leaning back and kind of taking this in. It
Oh
could,
yeah.
You know, he's leaning
A little
forward.
more.
It's kind of nice to have her leaning back away from him a little bit and sort of, you know, doing some sort of, you know, thinking about it. Like she's not
Okay.
scared of him. She's like, whoa, what? You know? Oh, but he's kind of cool. I don't understand this. Because you always
Okay.
want to get a nice pose in there, right? Then remember, we're going horizontal, basically, right?
Yeah, that's why I was trying to figure out, like, is there a way I could get it to fit right and have it not, yeah.
Again, here's I know I'm a broken record on this, but hang on. Yeah, hang on. That's where I just start going, okay, I'm gonna do, here's my spread, here's my alligator. I spend no time on it because I know what he's doing. I get it. Because now you figured that part out
Uh-huh.
with the hat and everything.
I did one
Now
of
it's
these
sort of-
again.
Huh?
I did one of these like this again, but I just didn't upload it because I was like, this is, it didn't improve anything. So
Yeah, so maybe she's just leaning back a little bit with her hand on her chin or something like that, right?
okay.
You know, is her hand on the desk here, maybe?
Oh, I like the hand down. Ooh,
His
yeah, I
hands
like
around
that.
there. And she's just like you said, she's just kind of tripping out on him. And then I can put a pencil thing on her desk. Yeah, I could even put, you know, I could put an old school computer on it
Mhm.
or a new one. It's always more fun to draw the old school stuff, but like this could work.
I feel like elementary schools usually still have a lot of the old school stuff.
Well, they used to have those crappy computers that look like this. Then they had the big cathode ray tube on the back of them.
We had ones that looked kind of like they were like bubbles. Were weird. The back of them was like all rounded and I don't know. It was
That
a
might have been
very
that
specific.
might have been an iMac. Okay. Anyway, and then it has like vents in the side of it and all that. But anyway, that doesn't matter. Just work that out.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm putting the desk in there because I just try everything.
Yeah.
And I go, oh,
Well, and
there's
I
a desk
like
in
that
there.
because it gives
If I
their
put the desk on there, I give her something to lean on. I also it gives me an opportunity to put, like I said, like a pencil, whatever stuff on her desk.
yeah.
You know,
Let's there
and
be
then
more going on.
yeah, there exactly. That's basically it. And then I can go, okay, I don't need a whole lot more than that. You know, maybe back
Just
here.
the ABCs in the background or something.
But then I go, okay, well, if she's a lighter value, then maybe I could silhouette her against a dark blackboard.
Mhm.
You know, and I just, okay, and you got to always think light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark everywhere you can, right? If I can get a dark shape behind a light shape, I'm going to try and do it. You know, I don't want to do it in a totally obvious way, but it actually just happens as you're working. You just start going, oh, there's a tree right there. Oh, perfect. I can just move that person over here a little bit, and they're right behind that big dark mass, and they've got blonde hair, so they're going to pop out of it. You know, this stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's just contrast. Again, what are we back to? Basic design, correct? This is why you have to take basic design, okay? And there was something in some class we were talking about. We're talking about, I don't know if it was in here. We were talking about gathering and dissipation.
Oh yeah, that was in the sketching class.
Yeah. And now, of course, that's in my head. And I just keep seeing it over and over again. You know? I'm
With leaves.
But I love that you go, Because I remember when I took basic design, I was like, man, this sucks. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to draw stuff. I want to do cool stuff. And now I look back and I go, thank God I did all that stuff, because that's really all I'm pulling from. You know what I mean? That's what I'm pulling from. If you listen to what we're talking about here, what am I talking about? I mean, when you get into pose and everything, it's a little bit different. But we're basically talking about a bunch of basic design stuff, right? And really, you know? Yeah. And the good thing about it is you can work it all out. And make sure you work out, you know, so she's pretty stylized. So she's silly, right? And I go back to, again, go look at Carter Goodrich for his simple shapes. Because boy, are they simple. But man, are they good. You know what I mean? You want to talk about charming stuff. That guy's got it in spades, man. All right, hang on. What's this? Oh, okay. There's something funny about the hat thing too. There's something funny about that whole thing because it makes him feel a little more worldly. Like it's almost like he knows I got to come in here and charm this person. You know what I mean? Like he's not clueless.
Like a little gentleman.
Well, like he's turning on the charm. You know what I mean? I just like the idea that he's aware enough that he's like, I got to turn on the charm and charm her. You know. Otherwise, I'm going to get thrown out of here. And that's also, by the way, what I love about the process of finding or doing this, right? Is that once you do that, then my brain does that. Or if I do it myself, then I go, oh, that's who he is. He's not just like some dumb alligator. It's pretty worldly. And then my brain goes to, what's the relationship? Like, what's his angle in this kid's house? You know what I mean? Like, what's his angle? Like, he's got some, now he feels like he's got an angle. You know, not bad, but like there's some angle there and I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Like he's getting something or I don't know. Who knows, right? Okay, where's Taylor?
Hello.
Where are you? There you are.
I'm right here. So,
it's all orange lights back there.
There's my lights.
Okay. Little scaring me. It's a little hippie. All right, go ahead.
So I was just kind of going through like how I want them to look more refined because.
And we landed on our idea, right?
Yeah, we landed on like the guitar thing with the alligator. So I was just kind of figuring out how I wanted
yeah.
to look and like all that other stuff, and yeah.
I like this one right here. I like actually this one and this one. And the thing I like about him here. He looks like he could be an old like bluegrass musician. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what bluegrass is, right?
Yes.
I love bluegrass. But anyway, you know. He could very easily be like some old bluegrass dude. And I'd push this a little bit maybe, or try to anyway.
Yeah.
What I like is you're starting to imply that he's got an underbite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even here, like it feels like an overbite, but here it feels like an underbite, which I really like the underbite idea. You know, and I love playing with this like weird mouth they have.
Like, ooh, yeah.
I like this guy. Which one do you like?
I don't know. I was kind of undecided about it, but I did like the one with the glasses the most too. It just felt like I don't know, just when I draw it, I usually gravitate towards that.
Have you ever seen the show? This is what this reminds me of, and this is going to really date me. You ever seen the show Hee Haw?
No.
Okay, it was this weird
I have not.
It was this show that, you know who Buck Owens is?
Yeah.
Okay, it was Buck Owens' show. It was on forever, by the way, but it was always in syndication, right? So my dad's side of the family would come down once in a while. I hardly ever saw him. I saw him like once every couple of years or something.
Yeah.
and they all liked that show. I think my grandmother liked it or something. And it was just such a weird show. But it was all like they had this character on it. He was like grandpa, and it was like a music show because it was Buck Owens. Roy Clark was on it. But there's something in the way they dressed and the way they presented themselves, because it was like presented as they were like a bunch of hillbillies, that this guy sort of might like, look, let me see if I can find it. Oh, I got to screen cap the room, you guys. I forgot. That means nobody's late, by the way, because I forgot. It was like this kind of stuff, like this right here.
Oh God.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you saw it now, it would be so weird. But and then they had a guy on. And they always had these scantily clad girls, you know, and all this kind of stuff on it.
Yeah.
And but everything back then did. But you know, this kind of crap. And then they had this guy on it called I think it was just called Grandpa. Yeah, there he is. See what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there he is. But it's funny how a drawing does that, though, how it takes your brain down a path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just suggest something, you go right down the rabbit hole.
Jesus, and like the little, like, he always tucks his lip like underneath like his mustache, like his bottom lip.
This guy?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. It's so weird. This whole world is just gone. You know what I mean? Like I actually, and I'll shut up about this, but Buck Owens was from Bakersfield, and Merle Haggard were from Bakersfield, and then they created this thing called the Bakersfield sound, right? Which I love, right? In like the 60s or whatever, 70s and all that. And then I didn't know where that was, the mythical town of Bakersfield. I thought it was like Oklahoma or something, you know what I mean? And then I found out at some point, I go, it's right over the hill. It's right over the hill, over the grapevine. You know, when I was a kid, I figured that out, and I go, there's some magical world of cowboys and stuff like right over the hill, you know? And I still drive through, I still go there to try and find like the ghost of it. Like where Buck Owens' old recording studio is still there. It's not in operation anymore, but like you can go find you can find Trouts, you know, the old bar where all of them used to play. And it used to be a Buck Owens Crystal Palace still. It's just interesting. It's like a bygone thing. It's totally gone. That was kind of a huge thing at one time, and just kind of a weird thing because it was all these Dust Bowl migrants that came out from Arkansas, Oklahoma, all that, the Dust Bowl thing. And that's why it happened over there, because all those people were from, you know, the South, the Midwest, wherever they're from. And they transplanted there because that's ag country, and they were all farmers, and they could work on farms and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So then it just became like a, you know, a cowboy town or whatever. I don't know. It's a super weird story. Cool music. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you've got to pick one, and you got to get it done now, right?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then look at this real quick. If I can find this. I always have trouble finding this, because this is good for just really great pose. Hang on. I always have trouble finding it. Why did I actually find it? Sorry. Okay, good. I found it. Look.
Wow.
I mean, how great is that pose?
That's awesome.
I mean, it's so balanced.
Yeah.
And then look at
Like, down to the expression.
it's genius. You know what I mean? And but all that relationship, and it's the same thing on a guitar, that relationship with the hands, if you don't kind of do it right, it disconnects and it feels weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can, I mean, and the thing I like about this is that all this searchy line in here, where he was going through and going, you know, trying to find, because what you're doing when you do that, because I do it the same way. I mean, it's not unique. I'm ghosting the paper, and then I'm trying to find those big forms and balance them out before I put anything on them.
Yeah.
You know, before I put an eyeball on it or anything. I'm just trying to get those big masses to all relate to each other, and it's real light and loose. And then I just start building into it real slow, and then it goes really fast, but I'm building slow. You know what I mean? Because I want to sneak up on that drawing a little bit where I don't all of a sudden make a commitment to anything. And then, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now. You cut off when you first started talking.
I don't want to make a commitment to anything before I've really searched out the forms and make sure they're all working together.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
But this is one of my favorite. And then look at the chickens. That's it, man.
Yeah.
And again, I know that I go back to this loose thing, but it's actually, I'm not trying to go, you have to work in a super loose style, but I'm trying to get you to build the real key to building a good finished drawing is to start off very loose.
Right.
Right. So when you get done, you get that kind of pose where it feels very natural. Right. And then all he did was go in, just like we talked about, and go bink and hit lines and punch things. And look how he punched this line right here on that knee right there, just right there. Why? Pop it forward.
Right.
Right. And he's making those decisions all over the place, right here on the hand. He's making it right there to separate it. Those are separate. Look at that sleeve right there. That's a leading edge. He darkened that up to put it in front of the.
It broke up a little bit.
Huh? What's that? Somebody said something. You guys can hear me, right?
You broke up right there.
I blame Madeline. What? Okay. See how easy that pose is? Okay. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Look at it's all over this. You should go study this drawing. Type in Peter DeSeb violin. That's what I just typed in. Or I can put it up for you if you want.
Please.
You want to put it up?
Yeah.
Everybody should look at that drawing just for pose, just for natural pose. Plus, again, it's charming.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm big on charming. Okay, let me get rid of this. Let me see what's in chat. I like you guys' comments are good. Okay. I could play with this guy all day long. Okay, so start getting that all together now, man. I want to be in color next week.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. What else do I have? Hey, Laura.
Yes.
Where are you at with your stuff?
I'm just exploring. I was doing some studies, trying to decide what my interpretation of the style I'm looking for is going to look like. I uploaded it late though, so you probably didn't see it. But I'm just kind of studying. Why was it late?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be really real. I got completely distracted this week by Lightbox Expo. And I did nothing but that for hours. But watching.
Look, I think that's great. I get it. But not in lieu of your work.
Oh, you're frozen.
Shit. How about now?
Okay, you're back, I think.
Am I back?
Hello? Now you're back.
Now?
Except, no, he's not. Oh, no.
Now?
Uh-oh.
Now you are, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
You see my dance moves?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Look, I think those things are great. I think it's great for you to hear from those people, but don't shuck your responsibility. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. It came from a sense
By
that
the
it was
way,
all
you didn't have nothing due this week, but I'm expecting you guys to
explore. And
And by the way, I want you to explore. I want all you guys to explore. That's why I'm giving you breathing room here. Okay.
right. And
okay.
yeah.
Ebony,
I'm going at it and
now you froze.
Sorry, weird things are happening. Did you call me?
Yeah. Where's yours at?
Well, I didn't turn anything on, but I've been working on things.
Okay.
Trying to figure it out.
Okay. On Wednesday, I want to see major progress, right? And again, okay, here's the reason I'm not going, here's the assignment, you have to do that. Because right now, everybody's kind of in different places, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But if I go, everybody has to do this one thing, then they're exploring a little differently, and I don't want to do that. I want you guys are all going to have different ways of doing it, but the way you got to get it done. Does that make sense? For everybody. Yeah? Uh-oh.
Did you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Did I break
You were
up?
cutting out for a bit.
All right. I just want you guys to get stuff done. Does that make sense?
Yes. Did you get my stuff, Mike?
What is, oh yeah, I did get here.
Yeah, I was kind of worried. I'm like, oh no.
How did I miss yours? Oh, yours, that's weird. You were the first one.
Like I'm still like playing off of like a
Ooh, that's
few that
fun.
I did. Yeah.
You guys can hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, what was going on here? I forgot.
They're like sitting in that little like I based it off of like that circle carpet with all the alphabet or something around it, and the first one was to like calm, so I tried to like add more chaos to it by like making the alligator bigger and then like pushing all the desks and chairs
Okay, I love
like, to
that.
the back of the
I
classroom.
love that.
Mhm.
It's a simple way to say it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a big visual. When I turn the page, it's a big visual, right?
Right. Yeah, I like that one. But like I was playing around with like other ideas too. So not just that one, but I really like that one.
I like this too. This is fun too.
Hmm.
That's fun
Yeah,
too,
like-
man.
And like his tail is like hitting the lockers in the back. But like I didn't know if the teacher's like expression was like clear enough.
It's funny. Like every class you work with is different,
Mm.
and like you guys are showing me a lot of things where I'm going. The teacher I can actually not totally see her. I could see not seeing her reaction completely, and still going. I kind of know what it is, kind of.
Yeah.
And I just like
Okay.
that silhouette in the foreground. Like, what is she doing exactly?
She's like has like her hand on her head, like, oh no, like oh my gosh.
She could also just be sort of doing that. You know what I mean? Like kind of like going, what? You know?
Like
Just
that
a
would
real
be cool.
subtle thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I like that idea.
And I don't know. It might just be, or she could just be her posture where she's just sort of a little more rigid, like, you know, what are you doing? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But I think she's not the main thing. What I really love here is that you got this dark element, and it really sets up that funny image of them in the doorway. Like, I really like
Mhm.
that. Okay. And I like,
Yeah.
you know what else I like about it?
Hmm.
Because one of the things I keep saying over and over again is an alligator would be too big for the room, clumsy, all that stuff. You're kind of saying that, you're implying it by having him too big for the doorway, but he's not, you know, trashing the doorway, but you're getting the sense that he's just too big to be in the space and all that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Right, yes.
And then just the size relationship of this little girl to this crazy alligator, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
I don't even know if he needs to be smashing up the stuff in the background. I think it's just enough that it's like it's just a crazy thing. And I like the kids are sort of like, I like the kid with the hands against the window. Right?
Yeah.
And when you paint that, by the way, do that thing. I can't do it on here. Do that thing where you know how your fingers get the
The red.
little flat part?
Yeah.
And it's
And
just, I think it's usually like your whole hand is one tone, and then these are just a little lighter, the little circles or the little ovals, or just a little
yes.
lighter that hit the window. But it's a real effective, like cool looking thing. Like your palms can do it and everything.
hmm Yeah, I really wanted to like get that if like I did like the glass and like the kids like pressing their cheek up to it.
I mean, I like a bunch of these. Again, I like the big giant alligator thing in the room, because that could be so fun to look at and to paint. You know what I mean? I remember
Yeah.
looking at stuff like that when I was a kid. Laura.
I wanted to add something specifically with how you're playing with this size. It reminded me instantly of it's a book called The Bear by Raymond Briggs. It's a children's book, and it's about a little girl and a polar bear. She basically takes from the zoo, and he's huge. He's really, really big, and it's such a sweet book. And when you said, "Oh, we're doing a children's illustration thing," I immediately thought of that because that was my favorite as a kid, and it's super sweet, and it's all in color pencil, and they even made a short film from it too that's all animated in color pencil. It's really cool if you want like a point of inspiration for like creating
Is it one of
warmth
these?
with something so big. It's the first one with the polar bear.
Oh,
It's just the bear.
This
by
one?
Raymond Briggs.
Oh, this one right here?
The bear.
Yeah.
Is it that one?
Jason Briggs.
Raymond Briggs.
Raymond Briggs. Wow, I didn't know that one. Wow, look at these.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, I instantly saw that, and it's really cool.
Look at this. I don't know who this is at all.
Oh, that's cute.
But look at that. Actually, it's what I'm going to talk about on Wednesday. Okay. Look at that nice little watercolor wash back there. Just real simple. That's just a wash. It's nothing, right? I'm going to go over that on Wednesday, by the way. Okay. I'm going to talk about the washes and then how starting to use them and all that kind of thing. Let's
How does
try
he
to
get
go.
the branches straight like that?
Well, I'll show you how to do it. Remind me. Where do you go?
Yeah, it was the first image that
Right
popped
there.
up on the very far left. No, that one, yeah. I wish you could find pictures of it online of the actual spreads of it. But I had to watch some videos of some teachers reading through it to see it again. And then I had to find the movie someone uploaded on Facebook. You can't
There's a
find it
movie?
anywhere. Yeah, all animated in color and pencil. It's like 30 minutes long.
Wow,
And I
really?
watched it over and over as a kid, and it's really, really cool.
See, that's what's
So
exciting.
if you can find, I know it sucks, but if you can find, oh no, he froze.
Oh no.
Am I on?
Mike?
Can you hear me?
Now you're on.
Now
Yes.
you're on.
I just love the impact these things have on you. You know what I mean?
You can find a video of like there's teachers or moms on YouTube reading through the book, and they'll like show you the pictures that's how you'll be able to see. But it does a really good job at portraying such a big, imposing thing as something comforting to this little girl. And I totally see that's like something you're doing something very similar with the alligator. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, there. How
Yeah, these are
pretty.
great.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I was kind of basing mine off of like if you give like a moose a muffin or like if you give a mouse a cookie, like those types of stories. Like I love those stories growing up, and like I live like at my grandmother's house, so she has all like the books. So I was like pulling those and like looking through them. But
Yeah, these look great.
yeah,
I
I've never heard
gotta
of
I
this
gotta
one.
find this. This book's still in print, right?
Oh,
Hope
Laura,
so.
can you?
I'm sure I have a copy, but I hope so.
Yeah, that looks great.
I found the movie. It's someone uploaded it on Facebook. That was the only place I could find it. So I could probably put it in a discussion on Canvas.
Well, great. That'd be great.
And it's just
Okay.
a silent movie. There's no dialogue. It's just the drawings.
That's even cooler. Yeah? Hang on a sec, you guys. What happened? You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I
Okay,
can hear
just
you.
give me a second. I'm doing a thing right here. Which one do you want to do?
I don't know. I like
All
I'm
right,
like
what do you guys
between a
think?
few of them.
You like what?
And I also started making another one.
What do you guys think? Nobody?
They're all so good. I
I
like
agree.
I like the chaos of the desks in that first one with the circle. I feel like that really captures that like kind of kindergarten, you know, show and tell kind of thing. And but they're all really effective. So
I mean, I like this one too. I like this, and I like my favorites, and I like this big one here.
It's like a sideways view of like the circle one.
Yeah, I love the tail coming into the foreground. Laura, what do you think?
Yeah, I like that one in green a lot because I really love the image of the first one, but I think you made it even stronger with that one there.
There's
but even if you wanted to try the one where he's standing in the doorway, I think that would be really cool to mess with like the lighting and the mood of it. But that one it's so sweet. It's really cute.
I think that's I agree with her on that. I mean, I could go three different ways here, but this is a pretty strong image, you know? And also, I could probably take this, I could probably blow this up to, you know, yay big, start working over it. There's enough in there where I could start working over this sketch, like pretty easily. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, then you know what you're doing, right?
Yes. As I started working on another one of like him in the pool too, which I'm kind of liking.
I'd start heading towards finish.
Yeah.
'Cause
But
what
I'll
you
probably
wanna
go with
do-
that one, and then I'll like just do that one on the side when
I mean, you could do a little
want to
thumbnail
do it.
and you know, that's the reason I'm so big on thumbnails. Is like, you want to spend, you know, a half an hour on thumbnails, go ahead. But you want to have time to refine.
Yeah.
All you guys want to have time to refine. Okay, that's where it all, where the, you know, the magic is. You want to refine that thing. You want to get it nice and balanced and nice and finished. Okay, especially in what we're doing. Okay, now a lot of times, like with entertainment design, a lot of what you're doing is you're using sort of fast skills, fast sketching, fast rendering, fast this, fast that, to convey an idea. Okay, which is fun actually, because I like working fast and all that. But it's more of a design solution, I'd say, right? Those things aren't really meant to live. They're not really meant to live as other than that, other than communicating, hey, I think this shot's like this, the color's like this. I think so-and-so's jumping into the scene here, and this guy's taking a punch in. That's what I think it looks like. A bunch of cool fire back here. You know, that's what you're doing, right? You're conveying the, you know, the art director, the director's view of it, whatever. But that's a means to an end for it. And then the final is what appears on the screen or whatever. That's the final, right? This is different. You're doing everything yourself. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about it. I was just thinking this about the other night, because I saw, God, what did I see? I saw some kind of crazy imagery probably from some movie that's coming out or something. I think it was like space stuff or something. And like when you're my age, especially, you look at some of this stuff and you go, holy smokes, the stuff they can do now. You know what I mean? It's pretty mind blowing. But whatever it was I saw, I was like, this is totally mind blowing, or whatever it was. God, I can't remember. I don't know what it was. But, and then I remember thinking about it in relation to this class specifically and going, the thing I think, and I probably said this before, but the thing I think is so interesting is you can create a world that you can create an image, you know, an illustration or something that's that amazing. You know what I mean? And you don't need anything other than paint and a surface. You know what I mean? That's it. Or, you know, or a computer or whatever. But I don't know. There's something about that. And then I look at it and I go, whoever created that needed a studio, millions of dollars, thousands of people, on and on and on. I mean, being a director to me doesn't look fun at all. You know what I mean? But because every single person in connection to that movie, which is a lot of people, is coming to you every day and going, what do I do with this? How do I solve this problem? Well, look at this visual thing. It's not really working. I don't move the guy over there. I got to shoot that, you know. Well, what about, you know, well, how are we going to get the budget for this? Now we're $3 million over budget and the investors are saying that, I mean, on and on, man. Or I can just sit at my easel or my drawing board and create a universe and it doesn't cost me shit. You know what I mean? And that's not even a part of it. It's not the money. It's that it's my world and nobody tells me how to do it. You know what I mean? And even when you're working with somebody on these kinds of things, I don't know, there's something about it. And I hope you guys are getting that, of falling into that scene that you're creating. Does that make sense? I hope you guys are doing that, because that to me is the fun of this. When I feel like I'm exploring it and it's all being, I don't, are you guys getting that? You know what I mean? How you're like in the room, like you're in the room. Like the ones Brianna just did remind me of when I was in kindergarten. Okay. And I remember that room very specifically. It was a really classic kindergarten room from that era, you know, early 70s, whenever that was, maybe even late 60s. I don't know when it was. You know, with the cubbies and everybody's stuff in it. I remember there was a girl first day, she laid under there was this thing where they put like cubby stuff, and she curled up underneath that thing and cried all day long, like never stopped. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you feel like you're being abandoned the first day of kindergarten, you know? Like, where'd my mom go? Like, what is this, you know? But anyway, it takes me back to all that stuff. And then after you get used to it, it's kind of fun, you know? So they got paints and they got, you know, in kindergarten, you just get to screw off. You know what I mean? So it's not that bad, right? Okay, so let's talk about something. So I'm starting to, all right, is there any questions on any of that? Okay. Right before this, I think I told you, I'm trying to get I'm just developing this up because I'm going to do this quick thing. Not tonight, but hang on. So let me stop my share. Oh, wait, yeah, stop share. So
Wait, Mike, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you receive my thing, the thing I sent you?
In an email?
I sent it through Google Docs and the email just in case you didn't get it.
I know, but why isn't it in my folder?
I don't know. Maybe I did it wrong.
There's a folder. You just click it and drag it in. Right?
It was supposed to be on Canvas, right?
The link is on Canvas.
Hold on, let me see.
It's under announcements. I've said this like 150 times. I just cut out 40 minutes of my Saturday video talking about this. Literally. Because I just edited it. And I'm like, I was talking about this for 40 minutes, like 3 different times. It's always under announcements. It's always in red. It's always bold. And you just click it. Now, sometimes I'll screw it up and I'll put a funky link or something in it. But, and usually somebody will catch me and tell me, and I'll just go change it. Well, and by the way, you guys, I don't know if I said this already in this class. I had another class where I did okay. I've told you guys this. Pretty sure I'm a little bit dyslexic. I have a lot of trouble with numbers and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes anyway, and I'm scheduling all this stuff all the time. And one of my students goes, I guess I posted that the class was at 4, and it's a class that starts at 9 in the morning. Okay. And, I go, look, so I'm telling all my classes this, if this class time is changed, I've made a mistake, because I will not change a class time. I can't change a class time. That's not up to me to do. This class is the same time every time. Does that make sense? So if you see that I put like, I don't know, 12 noon for the class, it's like, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Okay. The only way we would do something like that is if there's some weird circumstance where we all agreed on it or something. And even then, I would only do it once, because I don't think the school wants me to do that. Hey, Denise, you find that? Where'd she go?
Yeah, I actually saw the thing, so I'm just gonna figure this out.
Okay. It's always going to be like that. Like somebody actually just texted me right before this class and goes, you haven't put up the folder for tomorrow's class yet. So boom, I put it up. I try and really stay on top of that. I really do, because it just makes everything smoother if I'm organized. Okay. And I'm trying to be super organized and stay on top of my grading and all that kind of stuff. It's better. It's really better for you guys actually, because then at the end of the term, there's not going to be any questions about anything. Does that make sense? There's not going to be anybody go, no, I handed that in, and then, and it's like, I do not want to be wrong on that. Okay. I want to be totally fair on everything. Okay. Okay. So Denise, that's where it's always going to be.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So what you do is click it, make sure you're signed into Google, and just drag it in. That's it. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Any other questions? Hang on a sec. One sec.
Wait, so full in color by next week?
I think he's actually frozen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Now you can hear me, right?
Now we can. Yes.
Okay. So, okay. So I started playing around with this thing and developing a little more. Okay. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay. So it's backwards, blah, blah, blah. And I'll dick around with it a little more before I transfer it. But you can see that the brown pencil is kind of nice, right? Yeah. When you put the watercolor over it, it's super cool. And then just started developing out the back a little more, just to give them a little scene. And then what I also did is I scanned that. It'll be good enough, or I can just kind of watercolor it. I scan that, and then I go and I put these up on a page. Okay? I did 2 different versions. So one is, this one's backwards, hang on. So one is my actual kind of pencil color, and the other one is just black and white, okay? Now, I've already built some value into this guy, you can see, right? Yeah, here, I'm gonna pin this, hang on. All right, so you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
So, okay, there's a bunch of ways you can do this. You could come in here, because all I'm gonna do here, you could do this with Prismas, okay? I like to do it with, you could do it with markers. I've already put a little bit of tone on this thing, so it's a little different on mine. And by the way, you guys can't see me, you just see my board right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yep. That other one, the level of value that's in it, that's in this one, on the one I'm working on, right? That's going to really get reduced when I transfer this, okay? And then I'm going to pull out how much I want. So basically what I'm doing is I like to use black watercolor. And the reason I like to do this is I'm not redrawing. I'm just going in and I can just try. And by the way, this is just cheap paper. It's, the printer paper. And I'm going to say this side, that's my dark side. And I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to put a big shadow value here. Get that going. And I'm going to try and shape or pull, weld all my shapes together, mass them all together, okay? Right over it. And by the way, this kind of paper, it's not going to react like normal watercolor paper, okay? It's going to kind of suck everything in a little bit, but I don't care for this. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and then I can look at this and go, okay, do I need this to go darker? Which I think I do. And this is just going to be a big wash. It's probably going to be a big fall wash, I'm guessing, right here in the foreground. Okay. Then this is all going to go much lighter, obviously. And I'm going to start building that guy up. Does that make sense? Okay, what I like about this, obviously, and by the way, you can just, what I do, I mean, if you're on, it depends on where you're at. If you're at home, I just print these out on my computer. If I'm like at work or something, then I'll just print one out on the computer and I'll just go Xerox a couple of them, right? I like to have a couple of them so I can really play. Okay, I just want to go for it and just have fun. You know what I mean? And this just eliminates me having to care if I screw it up. You know what I mean? So this one I would have to figure out. Now here's another thing, you guys. One of the reasons I like this, see how it sucks it right in there? It means I can't really lift it very good, which is fine because then I just do another one. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. Okay. Damn. So that one's too dark, I think, in the foreground. So I could come back to this one. Okay, so what I was going to say was, that's better. I lost my train of thought. Oh, so I have some value here, okay? And that's what I'm going to rely on when I transfer the other one, okay? It's going to pick up, which I really like. It's going to pick up like all these little random interior marks, and those aren't like happenstance. I like those. Does that make sense? Okay, and what I'm doing here is basically, I've got some value in here. So what am I doing? I'm basically doing a grisaille technique where my color and my value is going to get picked up underneath, especially with the color. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so then I'm going to get my values together, correct? Oh, right there, right? Wherever, whatever it's going to be. And then I'm going to jump over to here and try and by the way, you guys, if you don't have a lot of experience with color, complements, okay? So if I want to mix this brown for this bear, I'm not going to go here. Hang on. I'm not going to go here to my burnt sienna. Okay, it's probably not going to be the right brown. What I'm going to do is, and we might have talked about this a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, you know, what kind of day is this? I'm going to say it's fall, it's afternoon, it's a warm light, right? So then I might go here. This is just a real simple way to do this. And I'll just go a little green maybe. And what am I mixing? Anybody? Yeah?
I don't know about anyone else.
It's going to give me a mud. It's going to give me mud. It's going to give me brown. They're complements, right? There we go. I'm going to put a little more red. I'm going to put a little orange in it just to warm it up. That's better. And I can go, okay, let's try that. It's a little too greenish, but that might be okay. And then I'm going to go, I'd probably flood this area, and for the real thing, I'd flood this before, but I'll talk about that on Wednesday. You know, and I'm just going to get some nice.
Mike, for the brown copies versus the black and white copies, were the black and white for value and this is for color?
Yes.
Okay.
I got to work this out.
Mm-hmm.
Before this guy, you know, this is the only one I really did anything on. Before I start on this guy, okay? And here's the thing, when I'm doing, here's the thing in my head. I go, I like a dark foreground color here, but I'm thinking it might be a pretty light wash because I want to do a fall thing here. So it might not be that dark, okay?
That makes sense.
So I want to do a fall thing probably. So I'm going to do a little bit. I'm trying to find my colors here. What the hell's... that's weird. And I'll show you some stuff on. So I'm probably just going to flood this with a lot of ochres into a wet wash. Okay. Actually, I kind of like that. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go, okay, now I got to try and figure out, you know, I'd probably mix a different brown for this if I'm going to do that on this little log cabin back here. I'd probably mix a different one. This one's a little different than that one. This one's a little bit greenish, which I won't be able to use, but let's see if this one works. I think I want a little more of the fall colors on him. That makes more sense to me. So I'll probably flood a little more of that warmth in there. If you notice, I'm not being careful. I don't care, right? And then this can be, again, I'm going to put a little bit of green in here. And I can mix it. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of really hot lemon yellow and a really hot cobalt. And I don't want to knock this down. I actually want it pretty strong. And I'm going to go right over that value because it's going to start staining that value and give me my color. And while it's still wet, I'm going to pull some of this orange into it. And then I'd find a blue I like. I'd mix one or whatever I'm going to do. I don't think I like this one, but I'm going to use it anyway. These mountains back here are probably going to get a little bit, probably cool them down a little bit and get them a little purple. And a lot lighter. They're too dark. Leave some white areas for some clouds. And I'm starting to get a little idea of maybe what I'm going to do. It looks a lot less saturated on your screen than it does here. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Very simple, right? So what we're trying to do, at least what I'm trying to do, is, hang on, let me screenshot this room one more time. Okay. What I'm trying to do is move through my traditional, you know, working traditionally very quickly. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if I talked about this in here. The reason that I don't go, hey, just go do your color comps in digitally is because, I'm pinned right now. Let me unpin myself. How do you unpin yourself?
I try like triple clicking.
There it is. There it is. Okay. What was I talking about? What was I saying?
Why you tell us to do the color digitally?
Oh, because it's not apples to apples. This is apples to apples. So what you're basically doing is you're doing a dry run on the painting, okay? And then when you go, God, I love that mix of a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of this, and a little of that. That's how I got that. You want to know that, okay? And if it's a really weird mix, it's sometimes, especially when you're new to this, okay, I can tell you right now, start with compliments, okay? If you're not familiar, and by the way, 90% of the time what I'm mixing is compliments. I mix a compliment and then I nudge it somewhere. Okay, does that make sense? If I need a gray value to start with, I go burnt sienna, ultramarine blue. Okay, bam, gives me a nice blue or a cool gray. Really nice gray, right? Also really great for asphalt, okay? But I can nudge that. I can push it warmer if I want. And then if I want a really like warm, really warm, rich gray, then I might go to cobalt and brilliant orange, right? And it's going to give me a really nice warm gray. with this bear, I was mixing, I want a brown. I know this is a warm environment, so I'm going to go with a red and a green, but I'm going to let the red live a little more than the green so it stays warm, right? And then I want a little more, so I popped a little bit of brilliant orange in there to warm it up a little more, so it felt a little more, a little bit lighter. And then when I was washing that in, the side that's going to catch light, while it was still wet, I washed an edge of some yellow ochre on one side. So he was going brownish, warmish, and then getting much warmer, really subtly as he went into the light. Does that make sense? And then leave certain places empty. It's in that video, like the edge of his arm. And then I go in and hit that with a little bit of blue so it looks like it's reflecting some of the light above. And those are all ways for me to get color into something that could just turn into one big brown thing. Because that's what I'm always trying to do, right? I want to get color into things. And like when you're talking about this kind of environment, everything can get brown. You know what I mean? So then I think I told you guys, like this ground I just did in front of him with the hot green in it. I'm doing that on purpose so I can bounce some of that green into his fur. Okay, so then I'm going to break some of that up with that. And also there's a lot of orange down here, so I can break it up with some of that. Okay, so once I create this environment, this is a very lit environment. Okay, and it's fall. Okay, it means that I've got a lot of excuses to bounce light into that bear, into the side of that cabin, into anywhere I want. Does that make sense? That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that on purpose. And for you guys who look at those, because like I used to, and I used to look at these things and I go, where in the hell is he getting all those colors like this? Okay, it's how you do it. Okay, and if you do this right, and we're going to talk about this a lot as we move through this now, what we can do with color and to make it pro, you know what I mean? For lack of a better word. One of the things that whenever I go to the Autry, I probably told you guys this, whenever I go to the Autry, there's always some paintings there that blow my mind. And one of them was, it's always Bill Anton. Bill Anton does these unbelievable paintings. And he had a painting there of they're always like cowboy things, right? And it's these cowboys or whatever, they're on what do you call that? Like a horse-drawn, wagon, right? And they're kind of going across this river.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah. Did I go out again?
Did you restart the story? Yeah.
It's okay, right?
Yeah, you're good now.
Anyway, it was a dusk scene, blah, blah, blah. There was all these amazing color shifts in it that were just like unbelievable. I want to start you on that path, okay? Because again, when you get into the digital stuff and everything, you've got to think about all this stuff. Like, how do I light this? And it's not, see, this is where entertainment people fall apart. Then they go, I'm going to put a flame over here and a torch over here and a glowing orb that represents energy. And I'm going to put all this BS fake crap in it. It's like, it's fine if that requires that, that's fine. But if you need to rely on that to do exciting lighting, you're in trouble. Does that make sense? You want to be able to make a bear walking through the forest in the fall look badass, all right, without all that nonsense. Just with your lit environment. Look, there's all those warm leaves in the foreground, right? Okay, so light's coming through those leaves. What are they? They're translucent. So what does that mean? It means they're like a lighting gel, like they put on a stage lighting. Okay, it's a whole bunch of translucent warmth with the sun's going through it. I've got all kinds of excuses to bounce light all over this thing, right? But in a coherent way. Does that make sense? And that's why you want to work with a smaller palette. Okay, I'm not going to do this whole, this isn't a painting class per se. So I can't go down the whole, like we're doing a limited palette, we're doing this. But I would say try and keep your palette fairly small. Yeah? Laura?
I was going to ask, I was thinking about for myself trying like the Chris Hogg method of
the what?
Like kind of setting Chris Hogg. Chris
okay.
Hogg, she's a watercolorist.
Oh, she's amazing.
Doing her method of setting, yeah. And she has a very intense method of setting up the illustration that for me makes sense, but I imagine it's kind of, because you're doing a lot of thumbnails over and over of just color.
I'm not gonna bitch about that.
Okay. It's just, yeah, I think, yeah.
And
I think
Chris
it's-
Hong, by the way, Chris Hong to me, I absolutely love her stuff. That's exactly
she does
what,
with
by
lights.
the way, that's exactly what we're going for.
She's amazing.
I agree with you. And that's exactly what we're going for, is that I want you, okay, look, I know everybody's not going to get this overnight and all that kind of stuff. What I'm doing, look, I'm a realist about this. Some people are going to do something amazing. I just found an image from, and I actually did this kind of as a test run like years ago, because I always want to test what I'm thinking. So I went over and did a workshop for children's book illustration, right? And I know when I do a workshop, I'm going to get a bunch of non-artists. I'm usually going to get retirees and stuff like that, right? They killed it. And I did that for proof of concept. I go, okay, I can teach this to people who don't even know how to do anything. And they did a good job. They came out really mind-blowingly good, okay? But what I'm really trying to do here is set you guys up. So hopefully you keep doing this. You have a methodology. And then if you keep doing it after this, you're going to get good at it. Okay, it's the way I look at this is if you get good knowledge behind you, methodology, it's going to speed up your learning curve, because you're not doing what I did, where I was in a dark room going, where is everything, for like 10 years, not knowing what literally, not being able to get information. Lights are out. I'm sitting in there throwing spaghetti at everything, hoping something sticks. That's what I did. You know what I mean? And it sucked. Okay. Anyway, so I always think about that, okay? Whether it doesn't matter if it's digital or traditional, it doesn't matter. Solid methodology. Does that make sense? Logical methodology. Like what I just talked about with lighting in that environment, that doesn't matter if it's traditional, doesn't matter if it's oil, doesn't matter if it's watercolor, doesn't matter if it's digital, doesn't make any difference. You can use the same stuff. By the way, that's what Craig Mullins does. He knows how to paint. And he just went into digital and goes, I just paint digital like I do like that. You know what I mean? Except he does use a lot of weird tricks. But I mean, that guy can paint his ass off. Or Greg Rutowski or any of those kind of people, right? Deeper knowledge. If you're working on this, you're going to get a deeper knowledge. And then, do the same methodology, digitally or whatever. Make sure you're doing your value studies. That's so important, okay? Luckily, we have classes where they push on value studies quite a bit. And then, your color studies. Do your color studies before you go to any kind of finish or even starting, right? Because now you did a dry run on it. Now, if you're doing digital, obviously you're going apples to apples with digital. Does that make sense? And then with digital, the difference is, like, let's say I do a really great thumbnail. When I go to do the big one, I just sample all the colors off my thumbnail. Right? Which is great. Now, the bad part about that is that you don't know crap about color when you do that, because you're color picking. You know what I mean? So you don't know anything about the mix. You don't know anything about the color theory behind what you're mixing. That's what I'm talking about, where this is deeper knowledge. Does that make sense? Yeah? And one of the things I'm thinking about is doing a digital plein air class for that reason. Okay? So we go out and just do digital plein air and start learning color, this stuff there. Does that make sense? There's some people who do it. And I think there's some value to it.
Nathan Fox just did a really, really cool lecture about doing exactly that at Lightbox. And he just posted it to YouTube, and it's all there.
Okay, go look at it. Mm-hmm. Everybody go look at that. That guy knows color like absolute maniac.
And he explains it so well.
Yeah, he's great. What happened to his eye, by the way?
I don't know. I kept missing the story, but everybody kept making fun of it. And he's like, "Oh, I told the story in another YouTube video, so it's out there." But I don't know.
I can't find it because I'm curious about it. And is that permanent?
No, he said it's temporary, but he's had it for a while. I think he had like a procedure done, and then
probably just likes wearing the eye patch.
Well, he did say it. He did a whole talk about how it really unmotivated him because it takes away a part of your vision, and he's a whole visual artist.
It takes away a lot of your like spatial relation, or like
exactly
depth of field or something. Because you got stereoscopic and it gives you depth of field. So yeah, it probably would motivate. Probably things matter.
Maybe. It's very strange to see someone who's so sweet-tempered and like calm in his voice have an eye patch that intense. But yeah, it's a very classic black eye patch.
Yeah, it's very pirate. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna let you go. We want to talk about on Wednesday.
Hey, Mike, I had a question.
Yeah.
This is kind of not related to this class, but it's about gouache painting.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know if you had any like recommended videos or if anybody had any recommendations, because like taking color theory and it's like my professor isn't like that helpful with the gouache.
Who's the professor?
It's Todd Smith.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Is it basic design?
No, it's color theory.
That's kind of a different thing. Gouache is traditionally always used for that kind of class.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get into, we're going to talk about some of that in here. So let's get to that. Like when I do these color studies, by the way, I'll start mixing white gouache into the watercolor when I need it. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go on. And then anybody in here who wants to do gouache later on in this class after this, because I'm gonna open up media pretty wide open in here. You can do gouache, and then I can go over that more with you. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
It's just learning the, you know, it's the main thing to me with gouache is learning how to handle it.
Yeah.
It's a difficult, it's not really difficult, but and again, it's methodology. So what you usually see with people with gouache is when they start off with it, their paintings are absolute mud. Okay. And it's because they're picking up the underlying colors and all that kind of stuff. And it's, again, that same thing. I was talking about this on Saturday. The way you hold your tools and things matters a lot. And it really matters with gouache. Okay. Whether you're holding that thing parallel to the surface or perpendicular to the surface matters a lot. Okay. And there's just a lot of little things like that. It's pretty simple. It's the same. I'm going to go over some watercolor stuff on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. It's like, okay, here's these basic 5 or 6, 7 washes. Okay, now how do we start putting them into play? And then it starts getting to be like, okay, now I just got to know when to put down one wash. And every medium's kind of like that, okay? If you break them down, okay? Now, you know, there's a million different ways you can do things, but if you get the fundamental understanding of it, then it's you get it. You know what I mean? Can you guys hear me? You guys hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. Anyway, it's just, again, it's just a methodology. It's not that hard to get. Can you still hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Anyway, I'll go over it. Okay. So if anybody, and by the way, any medium you guys have questions about, start writing down notes because I want to go through mediums. Okay. I don't want to change, and I'm not going to change the way this class works, which is when you guys go, I want to do something like that. I'm going to go, okay, that's acrylic with this, with this, with this. Here's how you do it. I'm not changing that. I want to do that. Or if you guys on some of your projects go, I want to do it digital. That's cool too. All right. We just have to get through this first traditional paint handling thing. And then we can open it up. So if anybody wants to do gouache or any of that stuff, it's fine. Okay.
Mike.
Okay, you guys. I'm just looking through here. Definitely go look at that. Nathan, is it? Hey, Laura. Laura, you guys hear me? Unmute. What? How do you pronounce Nathan? How do you pronounce Nathan? How do you pronounce Nathan Folks' name? Is it Folks or Fowkes?
I think I say Fowkes. Fowkes.
Oh, okay.
Fowkes.
Okay. That makes sense.
I think he said Fowkes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, Fowkes.
He says it in the video.
Folks. I think it's Fowkes, actually. Yeah, I think you're right. All right. You guys.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to be seeing some stuff on Thursday or Wednesday, right? Okay, I want to get this nailed down. I want to get to paint. Okay, Wednesday, I'm just going to talk about some watercolor stuff. Okay, and then the reason I'm showing you this simple, whatever you call it, value and color is because that's what we're going to do next. Before we go to paint, then we're finally painting. Okay? Yeah? Okay. All right, you guys. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. And thanks, you guys. You're doing a good job.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
I have an open meeting on Wednesday if anybody wants to go.
Okay.
Okay.
What time?
Yeah.
I put it under announcements. I think it's I forgot. I think it's like 11:30
11?
or noon or something. I can't remember.
I think it's at 11 a.m.
Okay, maybe it's 11. It should be under announcements. Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Sounds
putting
good.
that out there for anybody. Anything you guys want to talk about, let's go. Okay. All right, you guys.